Hey folks, this is Matt once again, and welcome back to another video. And I've said this on the past times I've talked about Survivor Series, that about a year or two ago, I did talk about Survivor Series at least to a point, but I figured since I'm doing this, at times, series of videos, it just makes sense to not skip any. Survivor Series 1991, a fun part is Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby the Brain Heenan on commentary. I've said before, I said it again, they always worked well together. I wish there was a way to watch the old like Superstars or whatever that those two were on, or Primetime Wrestling. I wish there was a way to watch them. I guess with the WWE Network, but I don't want to support that shit. Um, I don't, I've seen people on iOffer offer that stuff, but it's so fucking expensive. I'm not rich. I'm not gonna be able to afford that shit. But who knows? I mean, these two worked well together, and they're definitely one of the things I enjoyed about this. Superstar, well, I guess the funny thing about this, which I'll talk more about this when I talk about WrestleMania 8, is that WrestleMania 8 was supposed to be very, very different. And you can see it, the build-up in this pay-per-view. I know that there was going to be Ric Flair versus Hulk Hogan, or Macho Man Randy Savage versus Jake the Snake Roberts, or Legion of Doom versus the Natural Disasters, or Marty Jannetty versus Shawn Michaels. Because all of the hints that you see for that are started in this. And I'll talk about that when I go through this. And then just everything changed, and that's why you get, well, I'll get to that when I talk about WrestleMania 8. It could have been a lot better. It's not the worst, but it could have been a lot better, and it's not as good as WrestleMania 7. But speaking of which, it starts with what happened on WWF Superstars, where Jake the Snake Roberts had tied up Macho Man, and I remember hearing that was going to be someone else. And I'm trying to think if that was going to be... I know it was going to be someone else. I can't remember who, though. I can't remember. There's a name that's popping in my head, but I can't remember who that was going to be. But it became Macho Man, which at this point he was in retirement. And Jake the Snake Roberts would keep fucking with Macho, fucking with him, tell him he's a coward, he's yellow, he hides behind his woman. Macho gets up trying to fight Jake the Snake, but then Jake's Cobra, which he brought out, bites Macho a few times, digging into him, and he has to be carried out. And this leads to Macho Man being reinstated so he can fight Jake the Snake Roberts. And then pretty much we've got that out of the way, which was a really cool thing. Pretty ballsy. I mean, to have a snake that's supposed to be a cobra, but biting Macho, and just the horrified looks from the crowd. I mean, you don't see the whole thing because it was on WWF Superstars. They do like a quick recap, but I do remember that. I do remember seeing that on these reruns that my aunt had taped on a videotape, which I wish I still had. Gone from long ago. Just ballsy. I mean, and the crowd was just, they didn't know what to think. It's like, what? Oh my God, he's biting the Macho Man. What's going on? And Roddy Piper's screaming, get out of there, Macho, and trying to get Macho out of there. They still remember that. The matches themselves could have been better. I mean, you have the first one, the Mountie, Million Dollar Man, Warlord, and Ric Flair versus Roddy Piper, Bret Hart, Virgil, and British Bulldog. For the most part, it was fun. Nice to see Roddy in there, fucking up the $1 Million Man's balls on the ropes. Sensational Sherry comes up, and instead of hitting her, Roddy Piper kisses her to mess with her. You have some fun stuff with Roddy Piper versus Ric Flair, because those two were really good friends, and it was nice to see them together, especially in the Royal Rumble 1992. But anytime those two were together, it was a lot of fun. I forget who gives a double axe handle onto the Bulldog, and Bulldog gets beat. Bret Hart hits the Warlord, and Piper is able to pin him. And what sucks about this match is the finish. There's this big brawl. The leader men are Ric Flair and Roddy Piper. Flair gets thrown out, and so there's this big brawl with the Mountie, the $1 Million Man, Virgil, Bret Hart, and Roddy Piper. And they all get disqualified for brawling except Ric Flair. So Ric Flair is the winner. And I'm thinking, first off, that's stupid. They've done that before. I hate that shit. It's a lame cop-out of an ending. And second off, why would Roddy Piper be disqualified if he's the legal man? He's defending himself. Again, why are you disqualifying him when he is the legal man? But no, because Ric Flair was thrown out, he is the only one that doesn't disqualified. And granted, after that, Roddy Piper and Bret Hart are beating up some of the other guys, and that little part was fun. But just the finale, other than that, was pretty lame. But yeah, for the most part, I liked it, except the finish. They did a promo with Macho Man and Miss Elizabeth. The next is Sergeant Slaughter, which by this time he was a good guy again, because he wanted to get his country back. So he's with Jim Duggan, the Texas Tornado, and El Matador, which was Tito Santana. And they fight Colonel Mustafa, the Berserker, Skinner, and Hercules. It's so weird. That's such a weird pairing. Colonel Mustafa, which was Iron Sheik, the Berserker, Skinner, and Hercules. So weird. It was just weird to see Skinner and the Berserker in there, because I remember those guys. The Berserker had like a sword. I always remember this. It was not in this, but he was trying to stab the Undertaker, and the sword went through the mat, and like he could have really killed him. And I guess the Berserker, like he had a tendency of just throwing people over the top rope. That's usually how he won his matches. And Skinner was just a guy who had, I think, alligator boots and would spit his chew all the time, was dirty. So, pretty much guys who are there to get beaten, really. I'll admit, though, as bad as all that stuff is, I actually would not mind seeing a lot of those old programs just to, that I could say for nostalgia purposes, because that's a lot of the stuff I had on that videotape from my aunt, because I didn't have the channel they were on. But my aunt, Jane, would tape a lot of stuff for us, me and my brother and so forth. So, in this, I mean, you could kind of buy that you could kind of see that the crowd were not gun ho about Sergeant Slaughter being the good guy. They didn't quite buy it as much as maybe WWF wanted. And Slaughter pins Mustafa from like a clothesline. It really wasn't much. Forearm gets Hercules. Sergeant Slaughter gets Skinner. Hacksaw Jim Duggan pins Berserker. All four of the good guys win. And I don't mind the Texas Tornado. Hacksaw Jim Duggan is what it is, but kind of a match that you sort of in one ear out the other. Not too memorable. What is memorable is Jake the Snake Roberts' interviews. Like the one he does where he's like, "Trust me." That was sort of his little catchphrase at that time. Hogan confronts Ric Flair. This is like a flashback that we see on WWF Superstars, that he was confronting Ric Flair, and then Undertaker attacked him from behind, leading up to the match of this Survivor Series, which was Undertaker versus Hulk Hogan for the championship. And you have some punches, some clotheslines, Undertaker doing a lot of choking, Tombstone, Hogan gets riled up, Ric Flair comes out, puts a chair under so that when Undertaker does the Tombstone, he does it right on the chair, which for some, I forgot why the referee doesn't see it. And beats Hogan 1, 2, 3, becomes the champion. And then pretty quickly, really this is all to lead up to Tuesday in Texas, which was a pay-per-view that they wanted, and Tuesday in Texas didn't really work out well for them. And then they didn't really do Tuesday in Texas anymore. I think the next time they did anything with Tuesday was, what, Taboo Tuesday? But even Tuesday in Texas was sort of a jumping point for WrestleMania 8, the original card. It was supposed to be a build-up to stuff that didn't happen. But interviews where Roddy Piper's disgusted about what happened, which is funny considering Roddy Piper started off in WWF fighting Hulk Hogan. You just see Roddy Piper would have done the same thing, but again, at this point, he's a good guy. And then Ric Flair, he's always good in interviews. The next one, not much to it. The Nasty Boys and the Beverly Brothers versus the Rockers and the Bushwhackers. Really, it was there to put the points in of the Rockers splitting up. Because Nasty Boys and the Beverly Brothers pretty much beat everyone. On the other team, Shawn Michaels is the only one who pinned a guy. He pinned one of the Beverlys. Not Beverly Hillbillies, but Beverly Brothers. And Marginetti is going for a slam, and as he has a Nasty Boy, he moves, and the legs accidentally hit Shawn in the face. And I think Shawn gets pinned, and he gets mad at Marginetti. I'm not sure if he got pinned, but pretty much Shawn got pissed at Marginetti. Then it seemed like they made up, and Shawn left. And again, that would lead to them breaking up. Which, I forget what it was, and I wish they would show the whole thing on here. Because it was hilarious. I think it was when Bruce the Barber Beefcake was back, and he had his little barbershop sort of interview. And Shawn threw Marginetti through this window, glass window. And Bobby the Brain Heenan was hilarious. It's like, look, Marginetti tried to escape. He tried to make a run for it. And Monster's like, are you blind? What are you talking about? I just like that. We see Shawn just throwing Shawn throwing Marginetti through a window. And just Heenan going, he's making a break for it. See, he tried to run away. I mean, it's not in this, so I don't know. I just bring it up because it was just one of the hilarious things that made me laugh my ass off. But the match itself wasn't much of anything. I mean, I would say, honestly, this is probably one of my least favorite Survivor Series up to this point. Next one, Legion of Doom and Big Bossman versus Natural Disasters and IRS. IRS pins the Boss Man because they hit him with a briefcase. Typhoon accidentally gets hit by the briefcase by IRS. He gets pinned. An Earthquake leaves with Typhoon, so Earthquake gets counted out or whatever to comfort his buddy. And pretty much the LOD do a clothesline from the top rope after the suplex and beats IRS. So Legion of Doom win. Cool to see Legion of Doom win and beat up on IRS, but that was pretty much it. Big Bossman didn't get to do too much. This is one of the Big Bossmen. They're kind of not going to do much with him anymore, and which is sad because I like the guy. Well, actually, that's not true. I think he would do stuff with that guy Nails. So actually, I take that back, but you do a little bit more. And then you had the last interview where Mean Gene is interviewing Paul Bearer and Undertaker. Undertaker shows the casket. It's like, today you saw the death of Hulkamania, and this Tuesday in Texas you will see the burial. I mean, Undertaker, great character. And again, the Survivor Series, I can watch it for the fun commentary by Monsoon and Bobby Heenan. The beginning match with Roddy Piper was fun. They had Bret Hart in there, and Ric Flair, and Piper versus Flair. It just, the ending wasn't much. The one with Sergeant Slaughter and Jim Duggan, it was pretty much just all four of them winning to beat up the pretty much the guys no one gives a shit about. Like, no one gave a shit about Berserker or Skinner. Undertaker versus Hogan. At this point, Undertaker didn't do much, just pretty much a lot of choking. Nasty Boys and Beverly Brothers pretty much is just there to be one of those points of leading up to the Rockers splitting up. Now, Legion of Doom, again, pretty much them being the shit out of IRS is what it amounts to, which is fun. But, I don't know, for me, this is one of the weaker Survivor Series. That's just me, though. But either way, that's just my thoughts. Thanks for watching, take care, and next time I will talk about this Tuesday in Texas. So, see you later.